Hi folks, we're back again for video number 5 in our little Learning to Lucid Dream series we're putting up. And if you saw my last video, I did it on what I feel were the top 3 practices for anybody brand new to lucid dreaming to start out doing. That's stuff like dream journaling, doing reality checks, and having a meditation practice. What the video today is going to be about my personal top 3 practices that I feel help, deepen my own private pursuits. Those are Hypnagogic Meditation. So if you remember back in the video I did about sleep, we passed through this state called Hypnagogia in stage 1, maybe even part of stage 2 of sleep. It's basically this state where mental thoughts and images become a lot more vivid. So we'll talk about a way to get there while maintaining conscious awareness and then learning to kind of play around in that state. Then we'll talk about a wake back to bed technique, and then we'll talk about a daytime practice you can do. All right, so first up is going to be hypnagogic meditation. So the trick here is to get to this hypnagogic state without losing conscious awareness. So how do you do that? Well, you essentially meditate. You attach your awareness to something, say your breath, and then you try to have your body fall asleep as you're doing this. And then once you start to fall asleep, these hypnagogic images will appear because they're always kind of running there in the background. Once your mind gets quiet, then kind of come to the forefront. So once that starts to happen, then you want to switch your awareness from, say, following your breath to now following these images. And I'm going to get into this in a very big way in a future training. Probably going to spend about an hour just on this topic alone. So I don't want to get too deep into the weeds here, but really, if you can just follow these 3 things, so maintain conscious awareness, meditate, do whatever it is you do, wait for images to appear, and then switch your anchor. If you could figure it out just off of that, you could skip my whole next presentation I'm going to do on the topic. But nonetheless, this could be a very useful technique. Basically, as you get used to sitting there and watching the hypnagogic state, and even when you start to work with, say, like influencing control, seeding ideas, working with expectation, I find it to be analogous to the same muscles used to really controlling your lucid dreams as well. So this practice is huge, and again, I'm going to get into it in a very big way in a future presentation. Next is going to be the wake back to bed technique. This is a very popular technique when you get into this whole lucid dreaming community here. It's very powerful though, and definitely one of the best things you can do to kind of increase your chances of getting lucid like tonight. So really, there's 2 ways to do this. So you have the single alarm method and then the multiple alarm method. I like the multiple alarm method more, but I'll kind of get to my reasoning behind that here in a second. So anyway, the single alarm method, what you want to do here is basically wake up 4 to 6 hours into sleep. You do this because you want your REM, your time spent in REM, so rapid eye movement sleep, where dreams generally are happening. You want to have more time in there, and really, the longer you get into your hours, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of sleep, you're spending more time in this REM stage. So you want to wake up 4 to 6 hours into sleep, stay awake for about 20 minutes, and as you're doing this, you want to soak your mind in this stuff. The idea is you want your kind of mind to wake up, but your body's still tired, so you can go back to sleep, right? So, maybe read a book on lucid dreaming, dream journal, meditate, just do something to kind of soak your mind in it, and then return to sleep, and then hopefully you can fall asleep quickly. That's why I don't like this method. If I stay awake for 20 to 30 minutes, then I might be awake for the next 2 hours in bed trying to go back to sleep, which is why I don't prefer this, because my sleep is too precious to me. If I end up losing out on 2 extra hours of sleep one night, I'll be a grumpy man the next day. So, anyway, though, after you are awake for 20 minutes, then you want to skillfully return to sleep. Now, when I say that, my general go-to is doing hypnagogic meditation. But another thing that could work is kind of just doing the mild technique, which is mnemonic-induced lucid dream, where what you really are trying to do here is soak your mind, trying to set a strong intention. So as you go to sleep, you just kind of tell yourself, next time I'm dreaming, I will be aware and become lucid. So you kind of just try to plant that seed and then drift off back to sleep. The other approach with this is the multiple alarm method, and I prefer this one, even though you'll wake up a lot more. You don't have to stay awake. And so if I can just like turn off an alarm and immediately go back to sleep, in that case, I can almost always fall asleep quickly and not be stuck awake. But the goal with this one is you want to wake up in the middle of REM, right? So you can set this alarm every hour if you want. The goal is as soon as you wake up, you got to immediately recall if you're dreaming, because what dreams do, man, they'll slip out of your memory like that. So wake up, turn the alarm off. So you want to keep your alarm close to you. You don't have to like obviously walk across the room to do this, right? Keep it close by you in the bed or something. Immediately recall if you were dreaming. Then if you were, you want to go ahead and then skillfully return to sleep. In my approach, I like to do that with, again, through Hypnagogic Meditation, or you can try the mild technique if you like. Okay, so last up we're going to have a daytime practice. So I got this technique from Tibetan dream yoga, where they call it illusory form. Where essentially what you're trying to do is you want to use the creative power of your mind to challenge reality and see the waking world as if it's a dream, right? So this is where knowing the sense and feel of your dreams, which I talked a little bit about in the last video when I was talking about dream journaling, comes into play in a huge way, where you want to find things that kind of can bring up the sense and feel of your dreaming. And basically, you're using that to go ahead and challenge reality. And it's pretty hard to explain, so I'll just kind of give you a few examples about how I do it personally. So one I like to do is, say, I do this a lot when I'm watching my my son play soccer. He's still young, so it's still like magnet ball level soccer. He just turned 6, but basically, so I'll kind of watch him run across the field. But instead of like turning my head to follow him, I'll just kind of keep my head still and just track him with my eyes. And I think that kind of generates that sense and feeling of a dream for me, because oftentimes when I'm in, my dreams, lucidly or not really, but I'm always scanning the environment, looking for where I want to go next, what I want to do. So I think by doing that, because, your body's paralyzed in REM pretty much, it's just your eyes and your diaphragm that aren't frozen. So I think my eyes are constantly traveling to the far corners of my eyeballs are traveling to the far corners of my eyes, because I'm always scanning the environment. So for me, that's a way to kind of generate that sense and feel of dreaming. Also something that I do this oftentimes in conjunction with while I'm watching him play, but I'll have earbuds in my ears, but I'm not actually listening to anything, so it has this kind of muffling, dampening effect on noise. So that's another way for me to kind of, even that I find just gives this odd eerie feeling, which can kind of help me generate that sense and feel of a dream. Something that works great for me too when I'm doing the earbud things, instead of really watching my son play, maybe I'll do it as I'm walking through the public. So I'm walking through outside, not listening to anything, just have the earbuds in my ears and kind of just thinking, wow, this kind of odd, eerie feeling can generate that sense and feel of a dream for me. Another one that works is oftentimes dreams are kind of choppy, right? They're not like one smooth camera angle from one scene to the next. So one way for me to kind of find that feeling in me is like turn my head to look one direction, right? Look at whatever scene I'm looking at, close my eyes, turn my head the other way, and then open my eyes and see whatever appears, on that side of my view. And so it just gives this kind of jumpy effect where I can kind of use that to generate that sense and feel of a dream. Another interesting thing you can do here that can work out perfect just with this whole close your eyes and turn your head thing is working with expectation, because expectation is, when it comes to dreaming, it's huge. I mean, you can almost say it's everything. It's not everything, but it's an awful lot. So what you want to start to practice to do is so I'll do this, for example, like if my kids are behind me and they're saying something, so I'm looking forward, is I'll kind of close my eyes, turn on. When I look at them, I'm trying to expect them to be there. And then lastly, this one I'll cover really quick. Another one that works good for me is kind of when I'm sitting back, people watching. I'll kind of ask myself this question, why would my subconscious mind be bringing this person, into my dream as if I was dreaming? And that's another good way for me to kind of, again, generate that feeling, keep dreaming on my mind, and just help me spend more time. And the way this other works also is when you spend all this time questioning reality as if you're dreaming in the daytime, it soaks your mind in that stuff, right? So then it makes it more likely for you to get lucid at nighttime because you're thinking about it throughout the day. And then for me, this has a really great rebound effect where I'll get lucid, I'll have a lucid dream, so I'll be thinking about, wow, I had a great lucid dream or whatever last night. So it'll be in my mind, then I practice this daytime practice or illusory form, whatever you want to call it, in the daytime, which leads me to having more lucid dreams, more likely to have lucid dreams that night than I say I have, sometimes as much as maybe 4 lucid dreams or so in a night. Boom, that's all in my mind that night. I practice it again in the daytime, happens again at night, and it has this great rebound effect that can really come off of this constant daytime practice. But with that said, I think that's good for now. To the next episode, take care and aloha.